And it's my pleasure to introduce Erica Lill. Taylor and I have known Erica for a while, and we've been working with her this year. She's been extremely helpful in kind of coaching us through what I would call two ears, one mouth, and that is listen more, talk less, in any relationship that we're building, but especially when we're talking to investors. And the more we can listen and learn about their preferences and how they like to invest, how they've invested in the past, are they currently investing, that will guide whether we say anything to them. And if we do say anything, what should we say to them? So without further ado, Erica, turn it to you.
Thank you, Spencer, and thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate you coming to take the time this morning, and hopefully you'll find some of this either new and helpful or a good reminder to run it the way that you should. So I grew up in Montana. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I married an entrepreneur. So we've done a little over 30 companies personally that we either founded or were the first money in on the board. Some of those were real estate businesses, a lot of tech, travel, fashion. We kind of went all over the place. So it was a lot of fun. We had an early exit to Microsoft in 1985, which allowed all of that to happen. But I do come from also a family of entrepreneurs. And my grandmother opened her last business when she was 70 years old. So we kind of don't ever stop. We keep opening them. And I love helping these guys. I've told many people these Taylor and Spencer are the nicest guys I've ever worked with. It's very exciting to see their progress. They have a $10 million fund. They have 17 companies built. They have 4 companies in revenue, and they have 1 company with an offer on it. So that is pretty exciting in a very short amount of time. We're strategically putting some anchor together for Fund 2, where we're putting 4 or 5 people together with different capacities to come in and anchor and GP and advise in the fund so that the companies can have a better chance of winning and going on to success. So I'm really excited to see that coming together as well. And, some people are not raising money, but if you are strategic, have a great story and a great product, I think you can raise money today. So I'm happy to get started.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and throw up those slides. Do you want to control from your side, Erica, or do you want us to pull it up from ours?
Yeah, why don't you guys control it? So I have
Okay.
some paper notes here. That'd probably be easier.
Hannah, will you just share screen and then listen for the cue to advance?
And please just hop in if you have any questions. This is not really that formal, so I'm happy to kind of make it more conversational along the way. Nice to see you, Carol. Thanks for coming. Um, yep. Karen Landry out of California. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Yeah, go ahead and just throw. It's always fun to see where people are coming from. Just go ahead and throw in the chat your zip code or city and or time zone. Those are fun also. Fun to see.
Erica, I just saw this very last minute and I just registered it.
Thank you. It was kind of last minute. I think I posted it just a few days ago. But this is Midday Connect, so this is really Spencer and Taylor's group. So it's just great to have a few of my friends on as well.
All right, I can share from here.
Okay.
Go. Everyone sees the screen there now.
So I thought I'd kind of make this a little humorous. And to be honest, most of these are actually quotes that I gave to Spencer and he threw back at me because he laughs at me all the time when I throw these out. So, um, you know, this is a relationship that we build in order to get investment from investors on an early stage company. An early stage company is not about the company. It's not about the product. It's not about your pitch. It's about you. They want to look in your eyes and they want to see if they think that you can execute. And that is the number one reason. So this relationship thing is the most important thing that you can do. And I have to say, like Karen Landry is like a master at this. She's been a fundraiser for many years, raised millions and millions of dollars. She's masterful on the phone. She's incredible. So hopefully we'll have some interjection from her today too. But so let's have a little fun. So yeah, fundraising is like dating. Let's all go back and remember what that was like in high school or college when we're getting ready to date and get married. And if you want to go to the next slide, please. Oh, maybe I should control it. Oh, 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 just one.
Updated on my side of.
Can you go to keep there it is.
Yeah.
No sex on the first date. So I told this to Spencer, he laughed so hard at me. And then he did hug an investor, I think, and almost kiss him. So I have to control him. It was an accident, but these things happen. So again, we're building this relationship. We don't want to give it all away on the first date. We want to be intriguing. We want to be creative. We want to be funny, interesting. We want to create desire. So they want to talk to us again, right? So next slide. So be careful what you're giving away. This is what Spencer was just talking about. Talking less is pretty important. Certainly tell people what you do. Ask questions about who they are. Ask questions about what they do, and then adapt your response to them. So if they are completely out of your field and they're not doing anything that's going to relate to you in a networking situation, then politely change your message to something personal, remove yourself from that person and move on to somebody that might be helpful in your business situation. But the most important thing is, I think we ramble. We get nervous, we get excited about what we're doing, we're passionate, and we talk. And we need to really be quiet, particularly when we're dealing with other cultures. And very high intellectual people, because oftentimes they want to take a moment to think and digest everything that you said before they spit out an answer. And again, tailoring the conversation to what their desires are. Like for Taylor and Spencer, that's kind of easy because they have medical companies, they have fitness companies, they've got educational companies. And so if they're talking to an educator, then they can quickly go over, and instead of talking about the fund, they can quickly discuss this really cool educational company that they have. And then they quietly need to listen to the response and see if it might be of interest. Spencer?
Yeah.
Slide.
Yeah, it's going. There we go.
Nope, the wrong one. Oh yeah, this is the right one. Yeah, this is sort of what I was just saying a few moments ago. Networking is crucial. We've got to get out. These breakout rooms are really nice because again, what Spencer just said is you do meet people, but I do think it's important that we get in front of people. So there's lots of angel groups, there's tech weeks everywhere, there's medical conventions, there's family office, there's wealth, there's, Google, find some things. There's something in Utah. Oh, did it just happen right now or yesterday? There's things happening all the time. So it's very important if you go with a coworker that you do not talk to that coworker the entire evening. And that is a huge mistake that people make, or talk to somebody you already know. So say hello, politely move on. Do not sit next to the person that you come with. Make sure you're separated from that person at all times, because that is useless for you to be together, particularly if you paid to go to an event. So you're really trying to expand your network. You're really trying to engage new people to talk about you, your businesses, your fund, what you're doing. So you want to hear what they think about it. They may give you, some stranger may give you the most fabulous idea about your business in a 60-second conversation that can give you a whole pivot. And you just never know. So it is really important to just listen to new people, talk to new people, and be really open when you're talking to them. It's just really easy to be in our own head and say, oh, this is what I do, and this is what I'm selling, and this is what I need. Versus being kind of open to say, oh God, I do this. And they say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you did that in there? Well, that would be a really cool feature. Let me talk to my tech guys and see if I can get that developed. Again, the fresh perspective, not to mention the fact that that person now, that you took that person's advice, now you have a deeper relationship with that person. And that can turn into an investor, an advisor. They can introduce you to somebody that's an investor or advisor. When you go to networking events, particularly conferences, don't try to talk to everybody. One good contact matters. and makes the whole event worth it. Just one. These guys write $100,000 checks, $500,000 checks, million, $5 million. Just one of those is going to make a very big difference. So don't make sure the conversation is deep and that you don't just lightly try to get 50 cards. That's a little bit useless. Taylor?
Oh, I just advanced it. And if you've got questions along the way, you can throw them in the chat and we'll hit them at the end there.
Happy to, talk to. So this again is just kind of a little bit of going over, have your story down, be clear, have a short answer, a short message, embrace the silence, wait for the answer, wait for the response, practice. I guess I have that on another slide, but we do have to be very clear with our pitch. We have to have it down quickly. I mean, even when I was pitching Taylor and Spencer, $10 million, 17 companies, 4 in revenue, 1 in offer, bang. You know exactly what they do, right? They're doers. They're getting it done. They're moving it forward. And so you should be able to explain who you are and what you're doing just like that. And if you can't, you got to practice. And if you really can't, if you're like no offense, but if you're like an engineer or scientist, or you're not maybe the greatest person in front of a crowd, make a video, make multiple videos. It's so easy with technology now that you can keep them in short order. And pitching is hard. It's hard to pitch your business. So if you're actually going in front of like angel groups and pitching, it's really hard to be consistent because we're tired one day, we're happy one day, we're stuck in traffic, and so it's hard to have that message really consistent and really upbeat. But if you have just like a 60 or 90-second video, then that clear message can come the same every single time and be consistent. And again, you can make them fairly inexpensively now and fairly quickly. So I think those are really important also to be heard. The other thing that happens in a video in a pitch session is everybody looks up from their phone. So we've all been to conferences, sat on panels or saw panels. Everybody's on their phone doing this. The minute a video comes up, everyone looks up. So if you have 5 people on a panel and one person does a quick 30-second video, everybody looks up and looks at that person. And that is really what you're paying for. If you're paying to be on that spot, then what you need is people to want to come to talk to you after that spot so that money had value that you paid, right? And so they know what you do. It's very clear. They are interested in it. They want to come talk to you for one reason or another. They want to invest, they want to refer, they want to do business with you. So those things are really important. Yeah, when we are talking to people, we have to stay really positive, right? We can't get in our own head. We can't get beat up if people start telling us how bad our ideas are. Believe me, when I opened my first company, I opened a travel agency the year they capped commissions. So everyone in the world told me I was doing the dumbest thing on the planet. But what happened was 50 or 60% of all travel agencies closed, and the business changed at that moment. And so I stuck to my guns. I just said, nope, we are going to charge. I had to do it because there was no other way for me to pay my staff, right? So I just said, nope, we're gonna charge, and this is what we're gonna do. And we did really complicated trips. Long before Google, we did Africa and Monaco and Siberia, fishing trips to Siberia and kayaking trips around Vietnam, and really unusual things that were happening at that time. And so if they would call and they didn't want to pay, then they could call 15 other people. No one could do that sort of trip for them. And so then they would call back because we would just stay really positive about it and we would let them figure it out. And some didn't call back, but a lot did. It was a really tough business, but I ran it for 10 years. I had a great time running it. I had a wonderful experience running it. And I sold it 2 months before 9/11, thank God. So I got really lucky. So, Spencer?
All right.
Yeah, this is a little bit goes back to what I said earlier. It's kiss, right? So we're still dating here. So now we're at the kissing point, and that means keep it simple, right? Know your message, keep the deck simple, keep the video simple, keep your conversation kind of simple. especially if you're a scientist or a doctor. You need to become a transcender. You need to figure out how to take that complicated information that's in your head and those big long words that most people don't even know what they mean, and bust that down into a minibus and feed it to people in bite sizes that they can chew. Again, videos are helpful for that, or even, sometimes hiring a consultant or somebody that can help you review your slide deck and go through that with you can be really helpful. And make sure your slide deck is, 10 to 12 slides. 15 is probably too long. It's probably important to have two decks. One that's like this, that you're pitching, that doesn't have very many words, that's a little more conversational, and one that has more words and verbiage that you can send to people so that they can read. Or you can have a deck like this and attach a 2-page executive summary to it that helps explain your business in more detail. So, but keeping it simple, keeping it so people can read it quickly. They don't take the time. So if you try to send a big long email to somebody, you lost them already, especially if you don't know them well, because they're not giving you that much time because they don't know you. So you haven't won that respect of their time yet, right? By sending a short email that's really bulleted and really highlighted about what you're doing or what you want them to do or when you want to get together with them, that they can read very quickly. They read it, they'll oftentimes respond to those much faster than a big, long, long technical email. So please try to keep those also very short, within reason. And yeah, keep the story powerful. Again, transcender. And I really don't know. I think I might have made that word up actually, but I like it. So I use it all the time because I think it's probably the only skill that I actually have. I can take really complicated technical information and kind of absorb it and then explain it to people in ways they can chew. So for example, a fund to fund. People ask about how double fees work on a fund to fund. They do. You get double feed. So you have to know what the net is going to be. Always when you're talking to wealth advisors, funded managers, always find out the net, right? Always go to the net and find out what the fees are. But we're okay paying fees as a society. When we hear it in weird ways, it sounds weird. But when we think about going to get brakes on our car, we're so happy to pay the mechanic to do it and so happy to pay the vendor that brought the brakes there. Double fees. Right? So you have to put things in bite-sized pieces where people can grab them and understand it. So working on your story, using a great deck, using a great video, getting some feedback from folks, all this stuff is really powerful, and it's really going to make the difference whether you raise money or you don't raise money. So, we done? Ah, yes, and practice. This is probably the most important thing, right? We have to practice in the mirror, honestly. I know it sounds weird, but every entertainer on the planet does this. Every preacher does this. So honestly, the best fundraiser I ever met, I actually said to him, I was like, wow, you're good. You almost sound like a minister. He's like, funny you say that. I went to seminary school. And this is what he said to me. This is what he learned in seminary school. And he, again, was absolutely the best fundraiser I ever saw. He was dressed immaculately. His clothes were perfect. He knew all the answers. He had his story down. It was a passionate story. It was a medical story helping children. And this is what he said he learned in seminary school. Make them laugh, make them cry, they write you checks. I went to church the next weekend, thought something whole different about my preacher, but it is true, right? It's true. They're the best fundraisers on the planet, and the better speakers they are, the better fundraisers they are. So watch them and think about that the next time you guys are like in church or whatever. You'll have a sad moment, you'll laugh, and you'll be inspired to write that check. And that is exactly what we want to do in front of investors. So just like them, write it out, practice it, dress to stand out. Don't dress to fit in. Doesn't mean you have to dress up, but wear something colorful or wear something a little unique or put on a vest or, do something just slightly different. So you're standing out in the room. It doesn't pay to fit in if you're raising money. That's a waste of time. Don't do that. The best guy I ever saw at a conference, and I have to say, I've probably been to thousands of conferences. It's really ridiculous how much traveling I've done. I was in Miami at a conference in the beginning about 15 years ago when I started in the family office space. And there was a guy from Scotland there, black guy, about 6'4", and he had a kilt on. He was just all dressed in the Scot. You couldn't miss him. He was a truffle farmer from Scotland. I still remember the story. Never going to forget him as long as I live. He's like a walking billboard. So you don't have to dress like that. That's not your background. You don't have the accent. But there's something unique about all of us that we can kind of bring out in something we're wearing, something we're saying, is the way we're presenting ourselves in a networking or conference situation that I think is really important. So don't be shy to practice in the mirror. People get really uncomfortable looking in the mirror and talking. And so that is like step one to do. If you can't do it in the mirror for 10 minutes, then you have a problem. You got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing until you can do that. It feels really uncomfortable. First, you have to stand in the mirror and tell the mirror that you're happy, that you like yourself, and that you can do this. And that right there kind of will give you the confidence to get through the pitch. But practice, 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 because you're building this relationship. So we don't want to sex on the first date. We want to build a lot of desire. We want to be very interesting and intriguing. We want to listen to what they want and what they need. And then we want to see if we can build a partnership with them and build this relationship with them so that eventually they invest with us, advise with us, refer to us, or are strategic with us. So that's kind of it. It's a long journey and you just got to keep at it.
That's
So,
great, Erica. I'm gonna stop there and go into some questions here. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go in reverse order here. And if you've got a burning question, you can come off mute. Let's see here.
oh, I was going to say just one last thing. When you're raising money and you're in conversation with someone and they say yes, get paperwork in front of them immediately. Immediately. You have hours to do that, not days. Hours. I cannot emphasize this enough. I cannot emphasize how many times I've heard a yes and I've seen a CEO fumble with getting paperwork to them and they didn't get the investment. It's crucial.
Or they keep pitching.
They keep pitching, they keep talking. Get it done, close it. Okay, paperwork. Even if it's a letter of intent, you want a signature, you want a commitment. And so that is crucial because again, we're in our own head about our company. So get them paperwork, get it done.
So I'm off mute, and I got a quick little story about a billionaire here in Dallas, Texas, that I met back in 1982 when he was, I don't know, 22 years old, and I was 24. A bartender came up to me. He was the gnarliest thing you ever saw in your life. I mean, he goes, "I can't wait till I get the funding for my company so I can make some real money." And I said, "Well, what kind of company?" He said, "Computer, software. That's where the money is." I went, "That's cool, man. My name's Alan." He shakes my hand and says, "Mark Cuban." So Cuban was my bartender back in 1982. Move forward, and I saw him give a breakfast talk not too long ago. And he was talking about Shark Tank and about being on there. And he says, "If I invest in your company, I own you. You will report to me every single nickel that you spend on every single pencil every single day. And if you don't do it, I will take your company. I will put it up for sale. I will make 100% profit because my name is a brand. If you don't like my offer, go away. You're wasting my time." So how do you differentiate from the Mark Cubans to the people that you want to have come into your company?
Well, honestly, I don't think you go after the billionaires. I know a whole bunch of them. I work with Michael Loeb out of Manhattan, and he is an angel investor and invests in stuff outside, but primarily he's building his own companies. So it's the same thing. He says they're CEOs. I look at them, they look like employees to me. If you're getting a paycheck, it's kind of a hybrid CEO employee situation, very similar to what Mark Cuban does. I worked with Mark on one of his company's Fireside Chat. It's a television program he's trying to do, and he had a young girl come in to be the CEO. But yeah, they put $17 million in. She was supposed to raise 3. I don't know if it actually got done or not, but she worked for him. So even though she was like, I'm the CEO, it's my company, all this stuff, but really when I dug down, it really wasn't her company. It was Mark's company. And she wasn't getting a paycheck, which to me, that is a little bit different. And I'm not trying to diminish those companies that grow, and Michael Loeb's growing a bunch of companies, and we're kind of doing a similar thing with Summit, trying to, you got to match CEOs and get them in with the companies, and that's hard to do. It's a HR kind of situation, right? Because you're trying to find somebody that has enough passion and drive to want to run a company, but will also kind of listen to you a little bit too, or at least, be your partner so that they're understanding your vision, but they need to step in. That happens a lot with super technical founders or doctors. They need a CEO in there that's more of a business person, right? It's not their forte.
Erica, question that I have is if an entrepreneur is just getting started and there's so many things to do, you mentioned you got to have a deck, you got to have some paperwork, you got to go out and network, you need to be in front of the mirror, chicken and egg, I'm sure, but how does someone not get paralyzed thinking about all the things they have to do?
Well, like I said, you just got to keep going. So if are you absolutely just at point zero with the idea? If you're saying that, then use AI as your friend, right? Use ChatGPT, get your business plan down. You can get the budget in there. You can get so much information out of there in 24 hours. What used to take me 3 months to get done in a business, at least. We used to write these big, thick business plans, stupid, right? So we can get this stuff done fairly immediately. Same thing with decks and videos. AI is out here. It's fairly inexpensive, $20, $30. You get this, that, you can get quite a bit done. So first you need to do that. What's my plan? How much do I think it's going to cost, even if I don't really know, but at least get something on paper. Figure out how to put a short deck together, 10 slides or less if you just barely have an idea. And, write a 1-page executive summary. And then float that around to some people and get some feedback. So that would be step 1. When you're ready to launch the company, and I've done this before. I don't know how you guys do this or if you have one, but I'm happy to help. But we used to have a little group here called Venture Velocity, and we would have like launch and learns. So if you wanted to, develop this coffee cup and make this new product and do it, we'd have the idea sitting at the middle of the desk, the person. And then we would have a lawyer, an insurance person, a marketing person, a fundraiser, different people sitting around the table that can all give different pieces of advice on how to get that company started. As far as the networking thing, I will tell you, I was thinking about this when I opened my first company, and I have to say that I used to joke that I would go to the opening of an envelope. So if I got invited, I went. I just was gone for a whole year, and I just went to every single thing I possibly could. And then I narrowed down to the best events, and then I didn't do that again. But the first year, I think, of your business, I mean, you got to really make it it's your child. It's your number one baby. And if you don't have time for that, or you don't have the energy for that, then you probably shouldn't be opening a company, to be perfectly honest. It's a lot of work, and it's not for the faint of heart.
That's good. Question from Katie. Any underrated ways to meet investors that people don't talk about?
Yeah, again, like being really subtle. You know what? You have to just go where rich people go. So go to the Four Seasons and eat at the bar. If you don't know where to network, go somewhere expensive and have a drink of some kind. You can always get a Coke, a iced tea. You don't have to spend $1 trillion to be in that same place, to be in the Ritz-Carlton. You can still spend $25 and be in there and sit next to the founder of Google, because that's who's staying there. It's weird that that's a quiet, underrated
Yeah.
way to do it.
Yeah. I know another entrepreneur actually from the Seattle area who said that whenever she goes to New York, she has this nice hotel she likes to just spend, 2 or 3 hours in a
Yep.
spot, and as people come in and she says hello and what brings you into town. And yeah, I don't think she probably spends more than $100 for 2 or 3 hours and maybe buys someone a drink. Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, Southampton is ridiculous. The first time I went there, and I've had my girlfriends like Karen that go out there and they just rent a house for a month and 4 or 5 of them will stay together because every single person out there is worth, well over $100 million, I feel like. So basically anyone you talk to in a place like that is going to be a potential investor. It's kind of crazy. So those are almost free way. Like if you don't know anybody in a private club and you can't get here and you can't get there, that's the way you do it. And eventually you'll just get to those places if you keep trying.
Okay, we got time for another question or two. If you want to just come off mute, hit Erica with your question.
Erica, I'll mention something about the slide that you said, be careful what you give away. I was recently on a Zoom meeting and the CEO said to me, "You didn't open my deck." And I said, "I know." I said, "I really want to have a conversation with you, and then maybe after we like each other, we decide we like each other, I'll open your deck." But I wasn't going to waste a half hour of my time going through his deck, reviewing and coming around to ask him questions. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was you have to think from your head. I mean, your heart, sorry, not your head. And so when you're interacting, it's okay. I write scripts. I used to write scripts. I don't do them anymore, but mostly for hedge fund managers. But you can't speak from the script because if you're not swagging, you're not interacting. You have to communicate. So you want to bring them back to the real reason why you called them in the first place. But if you're not swagging, they're already detached.
And how much money have you raised, Karen? Just rough.
Wow. I'm in healthcare now. Ask me that question off the record.
Lots and lots and lots of money. We'll leave it at that. So masterful.
Great comment, Karen. Thank you. Awesome. Well, this is the time we typically wrap up. So, Erica, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you for
presenting
having
and
me.
sharing your background and experience. It's, these are the lessons that are learned over a long time, and to be able to speak the way you speak with this authority. So, thank you for doing that. We will see you all back here in a week at 11
Thanks so
a.m.
much.
Mountain Time next week. So
Thanks
long.
for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Great job, Erica.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Erica.